So I'll be using this to make a crop top, a wrap top. Sorry, a wrap crop top. This I'll use this for the sleeve. So this is a wrap top with a bishop sleeve. Alright. I'll be using this Ankara fabric for the sleeve, and I'll be using this crepe for the main body of the top. So this is what I have to do. I'll fold it in. I'll fold it into two. First thing first, I'm going to cut the back piece. So I'll folded it in. So the next thing to do is to take the length of my top. So the length of the top is 23. This is my 23 here. I'll mark my shoulder line. So this is going to be my shoulder line. Then the next thing to mark is the shoulder. You impute your shoulder measurements. I'm working with 15, which is 7.5. Then here now I'll come down by 1 inch to enable me get a shoulder slant. Then I'll go back to my shoulder line again and mark 3 inches for my neck width. Then I'm going to connect this neck width to the shoulder slant here, which is the 1 inch we came down with. So I'm going to mark it. Then the next thing to do now is to get the armhole. So I'll be using the same shoulder measurement I used here for the armhole, which is 7.5. I'll come down here, 7.5, which is here. Then I'll draw this line. I'll drag it across. This is going to be my chest line. Then I'm going to divide the armhole into two, the armhole measurements. So this is the half of it. What I need to do now is from this half of it, I'll come down by 1/2 inch. Then I'll come to the chest line, impute my bust measurements, which is 8.5. I'll put 8.5 here. Then from this shoulder slant here, I'll connect it to my 1/2 inch that is here. Then I'll drag it to this one to make a curve. So this is my armhole. Then the next thing to do now is to this base now here is going to serve as my waistline. This is where I will impute my waistline. I'm going to put my waist measurements. Then the next thing to do is to add your seam allowance. So I'm using 2 inches. You can decide to use more or less. So I'm going to drag it down. Then what I will do now is to cut it down. This is me cutting it down. Now, okay. Now the depth of the back neck. I will use 2 inches for the depth of the back neck, which is a constant for back neck. So I'm going to curve it out. Then I'll cut. Alright, this is my back neck, my back piece. So I'll be using this to cut the front. So I want to cut out the front piece now. What I did was to fold the fabric into two. Then This is my front piece, my back piece, sorry, the one we cut first. I'm going to take it and place it on it. One thing you have to note here is you have to make sure that the center front, the center front of the top is at is you place it where there is large part of the fabric, like this. Now this place has enough space, that's why I placed it. Then the next thing to do now is you divide your waist by 4. So whatever it gives you, you mark it here. So mine is 7 and it's stopping here. I mark 7 here. Then from this neck, this is the neck here, I'm going to come down by 7 inches. You can decide to come down by 6 inches, is your choice. Then if you want, maybe you want to show some flesh, or you want your business to show, you can use 8 inches. But mine, I'll be working with 7 inches or 7.5 inches. But if you don't want it to show, you use 6 inches. But I'm working with 7 inches. So I'm going to hold this in, hold it with a pin or needle. Then this is where my shoulder is. I'm going to drag it to this point that is here, to these 7 inches I marked at the waist. I use 7 inches at the waist because my waist divided by 4 will give me 7 inches, so that's why I used it here. So you drag it down, then cut. One thing there is, the lower you bring down the mark, the more your flesh shows. All right, so I don't cut this out. After cutting it out, I'm going to mark to specify which one is the back and the front. So the next thing to do now is you open it up. This is the front. This is what we have. All right. So this is our back. So I'm going to join the two shoulders together. Join these two shoulders together. I'm going to join this one. I also go ahead and do the same thing to this one. I also join it together. Then I will now talk on how to cut the sleeve. So after joining the two shoulders, this is what I have. This is what it looks like. Alright. So the next thing to do now is to fold the this now. You hem it inside, you fold it inside, or you can use maybe cut out the fabric, matching fabric to pipe it in, or you can use a bias tape to bias it. But now I'm going to fold it in. I'm going to hem the first, like fold it one, then fold it another one, then I'm going to run it straight round. All right, that's what I'm going to do now. So after hemming it or folding it, this is what I have. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to iron it. Like I'm going to iron it so it will lap very well. So the next thing I'm going to do work on now is the sleeve. Alright, so this is the fabric I'll be using for the sleeve. So I'm just going to fold this into so. It's not much, so. Manage it. So I'll be using this one for the sleeve. So I'm using the whole of the fabric for the sleeve. What I have here is 23 inches. Alright. So now I'm going to the down part, I'm going to attach an elastic to it. So easy way to do it without maybe using a spread and splash and spread method. I'm just going to mark my sleeve. Okay, here now to make a basic sleeve, I came down by 4 inches to get my cap area. Then from the tip of the center point of the sleeve, I now rolled it down here. Then I marked out a little here. So this is where my sleeve, my elastic will be. Then I'm going to cut it out. And after which I'll notch my center neck in the sleeve, the center point. Then the next thing to do now is this is one part of the sleeve. What I'm going to do now, this is the base. So I'm going to fold it once and fold it again to make a casing. I'm going to insert an elastic to it. This is a tape, an elastic. So I'll be using 7 inches length. So I'm going to hem it. Then we'll now talk on how to insert the elastic to it. Okay, so I've hemmed the base. This is what I did. This is what it looks like. So now I'm going to be working with a set pin and my elastic. So I'm going to put it in. Then I'm going to pass it through. Then what I have to do now is I'm going to use the machine and stitch it here. Then from here, drag the other one that is inside out. Alright. Then first. So after attaching the elastic to the casing of the sleeve, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to join it to the sleeve of my top. I'm going to join it to the sleeve and shape it. Alright, so this is the sleeve, this is the shoulder, right? This is the center point we marked in the sleeve. So I'm going to do it shoulder to shoulder, join it here, then I'll run a stitch on it. So after attaching the sleeve, I just attached it, shaped it inside. This is what I have. Alright. The next thing to do now is the down part. This edge is rough. We can't leave it like that. So just the same way we did the side. That's how we're going to do this too. We're going to fold it in. Fold one, fold two to hem it. Or you can use English weaving. Yeah, this overlock, interlock, overlock to weave it. Then you fold once, or you fold one and fold two again. All right, that's what you're going to do round. So I'll be using this for the rope or the band. So it's going to be 4 inches wide. All right, that is going to be 4 inches wide. Then you can make it as long or as lengthy as you want. Or you can even decide to make the band more longer. It's now a choice of yours, how you want it to be. So I'm going to cut it. My fabric is not, it's not remaining much, so I'm going to cut it, then join it back. That's what I'm going to do, alright? So I'm going to cut this one because I'm making two. So I'm going to join, then I'll use it and make a belt. Alright. After joining it, or let me join. So this is after joining it. Alright. Then after joining it, you hold it in this way and run a stitch on it. So this is the one I did. I've run a stitch on this. So what I have to do now is to pull it up, pull it out. I'm going to use, you can use a broomstick or anything you think can work for you. You can also use a needle and thread, a big needle with thread, you double your thread. But this is me now pulling this out. I'm using a driver, screwdriver. Just use anything that you think that can work for you. Alright. So this is what it looks like after pulling it out. Alright. So that's the same thing I'm going to do to this now. I'm going to fold it in, like bend it on a fold of two now. Run a stitch on it. Then use something to pull it out to give me this. This is after pulling it out. This is what it looks like. Bum, bum, bum. So the next thing to do now is to attach it to the dress. Alright. So this is our dress now. This is what it looks like. So you pick up this one, place it this way. So as if you're folding it in. Then run a stitch on it to close it up. That's just what you're going to do. Close it, run a stitch on it. You also repeat the same thing for the other parts of the rope. Place it. This is the front of the fabric. Yep. Place it this way. Pull this in. Pull this in. Match on it. Sorry.